What's up everyone? In this video we have a lot to talk about. Let's start with the spot Bitcoin ETFs. As of this recording, we're at a 10-day inflow streak. We have net inflows surpassing $4 billion, and BlackRock's fund IBIT is just dominating. No outflows since April 9, and it's currently in a 33-day run of its own. Now as for yesterday, the Bitcoin ETFs brought in $432 million worth of inflows. Something really crazy is in the last 10 days, BlackRock was $4.09 billion or 96% of the net inflows all by itself. And in BlackRock's 33-day run, it hasn't seen any outflows. It has seen a few days of no inflows, but this 33-day streak tallies up to $9.31 billion worth of inflows, with BlackRock's assets under management now sitting at $72 billion. It's very possible that we see it clear $100 billion by the end of this year. And here's a quote by Nate Gerasi. Another nearly $500 million into iShares Bitcoin ETF or IBIT. Starting to get ridiculous. Inflows of 30 of the past 31 days, nearly $9.5 billion in new money. IBIT comfortably in the top 5 ETFs by inflows this year out of 4,200 ETFs. And IBIT's $72 billion in assets puts it at 23rd overall. A 1-year-old fund. The next youngest ETF in the top 25 is 12 years old. We're going to continue to see Bitcoin being locked away into these spot Bitcoin ETFs over time. And we also had recent news of restrictions being lifted from 401ks. People can now invest crypto into their 401ks that otherwise couldn't. More and more Bitcoin is going to be locked away. Speaking of Bitcoin on the chart, we did have a break of our ascending channel. Now it does look like this break is going to bring us to 106k like we talked about. If this holds up, we could get a bounce and a test of this roughly 1095 area, and then a test of all-time high. If this support level fails, I think it's likely that we come down and test 102. This 106k was a pretty strong area of resistance in the past. I'm hoping it holds up as support here. But if that doesn't hold up, 102 is also an area that has a relatively good amount of support. Now we did see a bit of a RSI divergence. We saw the RSI nearly set equal highs. I mean, this high was slightly higher. However, we saw massively higher highs on Bitcoin's price. We did see bearish divergence in our last run, and it took quite a while before the market reacted to it. We saw the price continue higher as this divergence continued to play out. Interestingly enough, we do have the beginning of a bullish divergence on shorter time frames for Bitcoin. We have the RSI starting to pick up from oversold. However, we have the price starting to hit lower lows than that point here where we were oversold. But you can see on the 4-hour that we did get a clear reaction on this ascending trend. Once we broke it, we came down, we retested it, and got rejected. Bitcoin may be due for a new trend. It has been following this ascending channel for quite a while, all the way from 75,000 back in April. Maybe we're due for a little sideways action, develop a good base before we break out again. Now real quick, we did see Nvidia post earnings. We did see a drop on Q2 expected revenue, reflecting a loss from $8 billion in sales of H20s that are banned from China, and this has contributed to a lot of semiconductors pumping lately. Looking at Nvidia, we do have quite a few gaps down below. I would personally look for at least a little bit of a retrace before getting in. We do have recent news that the CEO is expected to sell $800 million worth of Nvidia stock. And also, if the RSI doesn't set a higher high, it looks like we're going to be looking at a bearish divergence with the price setting higher highs and the RSI not setting higher highs. So keep an eye on that. Maybe we're looking at some lower prices for Nvidia, which I would see as a buy. We also have some GameStop news. GameStop officially bought some Bitcoin, their first purchase of 4,710 Bitcoin. And looking at GameStop after this descending wedge, we did see a massive breakout, and it has been in mostly an uptrend. And also, it just flashed a golden cross somewhat recently. GameStop is very high risk, but if you want a wannabe MicroStrategy, it's got a considerably smaller market cap. In my opinion, it's a higher risk than MicroStrategy, but it's also a very small market cap at 13 billion. If I was to buy this, I would personally wait until after earnings. This is not a constantly profitable stock. There are times that they move to unprofitability, burn cash, and in my opinion, it is relatively high risk. We do have a new Bitcoin miner launching from Bitmain. This isn't out yet, is shipping in Q1 of 2026, but this is a substantially more efficient machine. This new machine brings in under 10 joules per terahash efficiency. The most efficient Bitcoin miners are in the 15 to 20 range, and that's mostly achieved with Antminers already, with the S21s. Iron and CleanSpark are some of the leaders in efficiency in terms of Bitcoin mining, and they do utilize Antminer machines. Here's a post from 2024 in September. CleanSpark acquired $160 million worth of Bitmain S21 XPs with an efficiency of 13.5 joules per terahash. I think it's very likely that CleanSpark and Iron will be jumping on these new machines, but there's going to be quite a wait for these more efficient machines. We're going to continue to see these Bitcoin mining technologies evolve, become more and more efficient, which helps these Bitcoin miners' bottom line. In this industry, efficiency is literally the most important thing in my opinion, and the most efficient Bitcoin miners will thrive, while others will be either forced to become more efficient or die trying. We also have news that Metaplanet is accelerating their goal of holding 10,000 Bitcoin by 2026. They raised $135 million in 2025, and recently they issued 21 million in zero interest bonds a day after a 50 million bond raise. Currently, they're holding 7,800 Bitcoin, valued at 847 million, well on their way to holding 10,000 Bitcoin by 2026. I'll leave all these articles down below for you. This article also talks about their subsidiary that was established in early May, Metaplanet Treasury Corp, and they cite improved institutional liquidity, basically meaning it'll help them acquire more Bitcoin. Now keep in mind, guys, that tomorrow is PCE. Our last read was at 2.3%. This is the Fed's preferred gauge of inflation. If we can continue to see it ticking down, that would be fantastic in terms of expecting more likelihood of rate cuts. Right now, the market's expecting right around 2 cuts. Earlier this year, we're expecting maybe 3 to 4. We need to see inflation come down, and that'll really get the ball rolling for more rate cuts. Now, I wanted to end this video here. These are the public companies that own Bitcoin. This will be down below for you as well. But you can see that the majority on this list are Bitcoin miners. These Bitcoin miners have been working very hard to continue to acquire more and more Bitcoin, become larger and larger holders of Bitcoin. We have 3 Bitcoin miners that are the largest holders of Bitcoin, right behind MicroStrategy. Also, the number of companies is continuing to increase. We now have 134 entities involved in Bitcoin, with 3,244,000 Bitcoin holdings throughout these companies. This number and these numbers of companies is going to only increase. More and more Bitcoin is getting locked away day by day, and we will be fighting for scraps. We will be fighting for fractions of Bitcoin. But thanks as always for watching, guys. Hopefully you got something useful out of this. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you next time.